Well, hello everybody. I hope you are having a great Monday. Welcome to a special edition of our CoreCon Weekly Q&A. As I mentioned last week, I am indisposed of next Wednesday, so I thought, hey, why not come out here, do a little Q&A, answer your CoreCon questions on a Monday. Change it up a little bit, do something different. It's always fun to have a little variety in life. So hey, if you're new here, watch this on repeat. Typically every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. We're answering your CoreCon related questions. Every now and then that schedule gets a little thrown off. But hey, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. It'll be a huge help to us. And hopefully we can help you save some money and still watch the content you want to watch. So let me finish up sharing this everywhere, and we'll get this live online for everybody to watch. All right, so one last place to share this. All right, now to the questions. So really hope everybody had a great week. I know we had a very busy show last week, a lot of CoreCon news last week, a little quieter start this week, but we'll do our best, everything. Hallmark Channel coming to Hulu? Is that news, or are you just asking a question there, Eddie? So let me know. All right. So Kenneth, Edward, Ryman, Matt, John, everybody's good to see you all here. Luke, did you see that DOJ is suing California? Yes, we have a full story about it over at corecarsnews.com. They are. There's an interesting, legitimate argument there that internet is an interstate commerce because you can't bottle the internet up to one state. So do states have the rights to do that? Because according to the way everything works, the federal government is the one that regulates interstate travel, not the states. So it'll be an interesting argument to see how the internet is defined for future generations. Paul, today is Monday. Like I announced last Wednesday, I couldn't be here for a Wednesday show this week. So I'm doing a little bonus one on Monday. Not sure we're going to go full hour today, but we are going to have some fun with the show. HD Home Run or Tableau. If you have a home media server, HD Home Run's a great option. If you don't, I'll get the Tableau. Hello, Robert, Billy. Good to see you there. Also, Mania. Luke, are cord cutter cups available? I do have them ordered. I guess they'll be here next week. So hopefully next week we'll have cord cutter more coffee mugs up for sale. Luke, what caused Hulu's outages last night? We don't know. Hulu has not said. Could be a lot of things. Could have nothing to do with them. Could just be an internet service issue outside their database centers. It's really hard to say, to be honest with you. I don't know. They did have a spate of bad luck over the weekend, but traditionally Hulu has been one of the more stable ones. So we'll have to keep a close eye on Hulu and what's happening there in the future. Is YouTube TV ever going to be available on the Fire TV? Not likely anytime soon. YouTube or Google, who owns YouTube, and Amazon are clearly not getting along, to be honest with you. What are my thoughts on the Fire TV recast? It looks interesting. There are definitely limitations. I think the biggest limitation about is device limitations. We know from our surveys of our readers, many core cars have multiple devices, and the Fire TV recast really just works on Fire TVs and mobile phones. So I think that's the biggest holdup there. It's a little bit more pricey. You do not have a monthly fee, so kind of a wash there, just a little bit more upfront, which I know some people are really sensitive about. But I think the no monthly fee part of it will help a lot of people be very interested in the Fire TV recast. Past that, we really need to get our hands on it and see how it works, see if it's worth money. I do have one on order. Hopefully I get a review unit before then, but Amazon is not always great about sending out review units, so either way I've pre-ordered one. Luke, will Amazon have a free streaming service? Because I thought Twitch was theirs. Twitch is theirs, but the free service that we reported on today will be for movies and TV shows. Twitch is more about live streaming. The new service will be more about on-demand content. All right, Edward, looking into the basic Tableau box or Best Buy, Go mount an antenna outside. Any suggestions? Ground your outside antenna. And yeah, watch some YouTube videos online about installing an antenna on the outside. Watch a couple. Make sure you do your research and know what you're doing. Al, you're correct. Verizon did launch their 5G network in 4 cities today. We have a story about over at corecarsnews.com. Link in the show notes for full details. But yes, you can now get 5G home internet in 4 towns around the United States. T-Mobile, AT&T are launching networks by the end of the year. Dish, Charter, Google, and others are launching 5G also. I can't get the 4 main ABC, NBC, Fox where I live. Any suggestions? Well, you can look in DirecTV Now, Hulu, YouTube TV, PlayStation View. One of those services should offer the locals you want. Am I going to review Roku Skystream TV? I've done some stories on it, so if you want to check out the stories, check out corecarsnews.com for more about Skystream TV. I have details over it. Just posted a big story about it this week. My YouTube TV was acting slow yesterday, was it? I didn't really hear any complaints about YouTube TV yesterday, but it's possible I just missed them, being a Sunday. Try to enjoy a little bit of time with family on Sundays. Doesn't always work. All right, keep those questions coming. When is 5G coming to some rural areas? It's hard to say. They say by 2020, half the United States will be covered in 5G. By 2024, majority of Americans, like 90%, will be covered by 5G. So hopefully in the next 5 or so years, you should get it. That is the thing about living in rural areas. 5G is a very expensive technology they've been developing for a long time. They want to quickly recoup some of their investments, let's call them that, losses. So what they're doing is they're going to where the biggest population center is. Because if I put one cell tower in New York City, I could sign up a few thousand people, a few hundred people minimum. If I put a cell phone tower in a small town, maybe I get a half dozen people to sign up. So that's why they start in bigger cities, because the return on your investment is far greater. And then they go from there and they build out the network to smaller, more rural areas. Is there a way to find out when my OTA channels is going to support 3.0? No one has announced any public, so when people start announcing it, we'll be covering it over at corecarsnews.com. So keep an eye at corecarsnews.com. Will 5G home internet be reasonable cost? $50 for, I think it was like $300 down was what Verizon's promising. That's a pretty good deal if you're a Verizon customer. If you're a non-Verizon customer, it's $70 down. It seems to be a price point that most 5G services, the $50 roughly price range, has been kind of average recently. Add to the fact that there's no data caps, and it seems to be a pretty good deal right there. Raymond says, Luke, what do you think about Metro PCS rebranding to Metro by T-Mobile? It's just a name change. Doesn't really change anything about it. I know some of their higher end plans now offer free Amazon Prime, which is pretty cool. Not a bad deal there if you're already with Metro. I mean, Amazon Prime is $100 a month, depending on how much more expensive that plan is. Check it out. When will the next Q&A broadcast be? I kind of announced this at the beginning. I'll probably mention it a few times, but because I have to be out of town this weekend, or this Wednesday, I can't be here. Next week, Wednesday, will be the next one. So today is kind of a special to replace next week's show, or next Wednesday's show, excuse me. So next week, I'll be back to the normal, regular scheduled CoreCon Q&A on that. So, is there a free streaming website for movies and TV shows you recommend? Tubi TV, Crackle, Sony Crackle, excuse me, they renamed the company. The Roku channel, which also has a website version now. So those are the 3 big ones. Pluto TV is another one. They have a lot of live, it's what they've been known for, but they also have a huge on-demand catalog now, so check it out. Thomas says, T-Mobile originally announced that they'll be launching their streaming service in 2018. Will that still be happening? Yes, T-Mobile still says that they plan to launch a live TV streaming service in 2018. No other news has come out, so I have to keep an eye on it. Can you cast the Locast app from your phone to your TV? I think if you mirror your whole screen, you can. Locast does have a Roku channel, so if you have a Roku, you just open the Locast channel. Right there it is on your TV. Danny says, thank you for all the cord cutting news you give us. I've literally saved a lot of money. Thank you, Danny. I'm glad we've helped you save some money. Hopefully we help more people, and we help you save some more. We help other people save some money too. That is the fingers crossed. I had this issue with Hulu last week. I was recording local channels from Tampa and stuff, Orlando. After 2 hours with Hulu, I had something to do with my IP address. Yes, so I had this issue with PlayStation View. So CenturyLink seems to be really bad about where you live, the IP address. So they use this IP address, and it's supposed to within like 30 miles roughly pinpoint where you are based on your IP address. Well, CenturyLink for me, even though I'm over 3 hours away from Dallas, was saying I was in Dallas TV market. And I was getting my locals from Dallas and not my market. Fairly common issue with CenturyLink, and it's really not a lot Hulu can do because they're doing everything correct on their end. It's CenturyLink having the issue. CenturyLink's not the only, other services do it. When is Los Angeles getting Locast? We don't know. Locast has not announced future rollout plans other than say they do intend to continue to roll them out. All right, Robert, great to hear we've helped you also save some money. Best Roku device for mom that's easy to use. Really, all the Rokus are pretty much easiest to use. I do think Roku is one of the easiest services for people to use who are not very comfortable with technology. I know my parents use it without any issues. So I would say check it out. See if it's a good fit for you and go from there. All right. What's the best device for Spanish streaming for my grandma? He doesn't know how to read and is paying $70 for basic local cable. Roku what's the best device for somebody who doesn't know how to read? Roku's just so simple. I would say Roku maybe. Some of them come with a little Sling TV quick launch button, and Sling TV does include a lot of Spanish packages. You may want to check into that. Buy one of them with a with one there. Raymond says, Luke, isn't LA local streaming for free with a different app? Yeah, the sub channels. I don't think ABC and NBC are streaming with the Bay Area TV service, but you get a lot. I think MeTV is one of them. A bunch of those smaller sub channels are free in LA streaming online. Any plans for a review of Hulu's new user interface? Yes, we do intend to review it. Not much on the desktop. There is changes on the desktop, not on the apps yet, so we'll keep a close eye on that. Hello, William. Great to have you here. Hopefully, you'll be sticking around. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you can check out our future Core Q&As. Any news about Netflix lately? The biggest news come out today was that they're considering having a choose-your-own-adventure type Black Mirror story. So, yeah, nothing groundbreaking with Netflix. Unless something happened this evening, I missed. All right, keep those questions coming. I'll do my best to answer them. Do I think Philo will ever get locals? Not at $16 a month. Locals alone cost $16 a month, to be honest with you. And Philo, most of the channels that are on Philo are because the people, those channels, parent company own part of Philo, which is not Fox, it's not Disney, it's not ABC. So I would say for now, just I would say. My brain just fried. Sorry. I lost track. I'm reading. I'm talking. Doesn't always work well. But sorry, Philo. It doesn't always. They don't own any locals, so I wouldn't count on it. I don't think Philo wants ad locals because that would be a noticeable price increase. It's a great if you have an antenna. Pair that with an antenna. It's a pretty good option. Is there any way to watch shows like The Big Bang Theory, etc., on a streaming box besides mirroring from an app? Big Bang Theory, get CBS All Access. Many other ones out there have those shows. You can buy if all you want is that particular show, get a season pass. Of course, if you live in an area where antenna works for you, get an antenna. Cheapest way to do it. Looking news on Pluto TV or Tubi. Pluto has announced 8 new channels. 2 of them are already launched, just different generic ones like comedy and so forth. Tons of new content though coming to Pluto. Tubi TV hasn't been, and I don't think I saw if they announced what's new on Tubi this month. I'll have to chase them down about that. Will Verizon eventually be available in most areas where they have 4G? Yes, the idea is to continue to roll 5G out to pretty much everywhere. Luke, any word on the 8.2 Roku TV update? They say in November. Between now and November. I have a couple, I don't know if it's 8.2, but I noticed a couple of my TVs really upgraded. The TCL ones that include now the featured free section on it. So keep that in mind. All right. I missed the last sale for the Tableau Ultra at Best Buy. It was only $73. Now it's back to $39. Know anywhere else? Well, I just posted over at corecarsnews.com today. If you want to buy a refurbished Tableau, which just come with their normal 1-year warranty on it, it's only like 80 some bucks, $89 I think it is. corecarsnews.com, right there on the homepage, you click on the deal tab, you'll find the deal for the refurbished Tableau DVRs, refurbished by Tableau, sold by Tableau, and they fully test them all. So check it out. When our new Roku's coming out? Early October, so in the next couple weeks it should be out. Jimmy says, I've heard this that Verizon 5G isn't true 5G. Does that even matter? No. So that's kind of one of those things that companies like to bicker about. Your 5G standard isn't really true because it's not like my 5G. My 5G is the real 5G. You get these arguments between T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T. My 4G is how it's supposed to be, and I do it this way. So anyone else who doesn't do it my way isn't real 4G. We've heard those arguments forever. So now it's the same thing. It's that, oh, what I do is the way it should be. Verizon, your ways doesn't work. It really doesn't matter. What matters to you is what's the end speed. What speed are you getting at home? And Verizon's delivering the speed. Who cares if their antenna setup is a little different than the way somebody else does? Their chip processes the signal a little different. I say forget that. Don't worry about it. Clerk says, what the sad part is? Not everyone can use an antenna. Statistically, over 90% of Americans can use an antenna. That still does leave millions of people where an antenna is not the best option. When I cut the cord 5 years ago, I lived 60 miles from the nearest transmitter, and I lived in a valley. And it sucked because I had no over-the-air TV signal. No PBS, no Spanish channels, no public access channels, nothing at all. So I understand. The good news is, for most Americans, Hulu, for instance, 80% of their subscribers can get all 4 major ones through Hulu. If you really look at it, between Hulu, YouTube, PlayStation Vue, DirecTV Now, etc., one of those services in most areas will include your locals. So keep that in mind. When will DirecTV Now release its 100-hour DVR? They said in the summer of 2018. Well, we all know that didn't happen. Who knows? DirecTV Now has a habit. Sometimes they answer questions, sometimes they don't. This is kind of what DirecTV Now and AT&T does. But as soon as it does go live, we will be doing our best. We'll do our best to let you know about it. Luke, are you surprised that Charter came out swinging, saying that mobile won't win over cable internet? When everyone has a smartphone, I think that's a silly argument. Basically, what Charter's saying is, we're not worried about 5G home internet because, our technology is better. And I don't think what Charter realizes is for the vast majority of people, they don't need, Charter's talking about like 10 gigabytes down. Vast majority of people want to surf Facebook, check their email, watch a little YouTube, watch a little Netflix. And really, 100 down is overkill for all that. Even if you have a family of 4 or 5 people, all you're doing is watching a little bit of Netflix, some YouTube, checking your email, Instagram, Facebook, that kind of stuff. You really don't need these 10 gigabyte plans that cable companies are talking about. It's great. It's cool. But I think 5G for most people, not everybody, but I think for most people, it's going to be more than enough. And what Charter and everything is doing here, trying to downplay it, because I think they're scared of it. This is the exact same kind of stuff they said about cord cutting a few years ago. Cord cutting, whatever. It's never going to be as good as cable. People won't leave us for a subpar experience like cord cutting, when the reality is millions of people are leaving, and millions of people will leave their internet service for 5G too. $50, no data caps. Comcast, are you paying attention? No data caps for 5G Verizon. That's a pretty sweet deal, so keep that in mind. All right, Robert says, what's the deal with Hulu being down over the weekend? Yeah, the last 2 nights in a row it was down. I don't know why. Hulu has not said. It could be nothing to do with them. I know I've talked to services that say often when the outage happens, it happens somewhere downstream. So they have their data servers. And then somewhere between their data server and the internet, maybe that breaks. That's one common example I hear from a lot of people. There's an internet outage. You think about you lose internet at your home sometimes. Well, data centers lose internet too. It just happens. So just keep that in mind that is maybe completely out of their control. Why is Optimum in New York tried to trick people with the triple play? They must have phone, cable, and internet. I'm not very familiar with that one, but people want money. That's why they're doing it. I mean, the truth is, so Hulu went down for a couple hours. I mean, Netflix has gone down. Amazon's gone down. Everybody goes down at some point. Cable goes down at some point. So just keep that in mind. It just happens. Fernando says the Sling TV app on iOS 12 is not working. They just released a statement that they're working on it. Oh, I missed that story. I will look into that. I am making a note right now to review that after the show. All right, keep the questions, comments coming. I'm not sure how long we'll be here. I know a lot of people are surprised. What's happening? This isn't Wednesday. It is Wednesday. Your calendar lied to you. Your phone lied to you. Today is Wednesday. Actually, it's not. It's Monday. I have to be unavailable on Wednesday. I announced that last week. I said I was going to try to do a surprise one to make up for it. And here I am. Hopefully this makes up for me not being here Wednesday. But next week, Wednesday, we will be right back on schedules. But always remember, everybody else lies to you. I'm the one telling you the truth. I'm just kidding. All right. Is it legal to watch R word? I'm just not familiar with that service. If it's a web browser, it's a web browser. Now, don't be. We've had this before. So basically, what you're looking at a web browser on the somebody made for Android TV. Sometimes some services will block that web browser. They do have ability to tune out specific web browsers. They may or not do it. So we have to wait and see what happens there. Is it legal? I'm assuming it is. I've never used it, so I can't really comment on that. What's my opinion on net neutrality? The principle of it's good. With all things, there's the good and bad. And there is bad about net neutrality. There's a lot of people who really don't want the internet being managed by the government. They would rather keep it decentralized. So there's a legitimate argument there. There's a lot of people out there who legitimately want to protect the internet by having net neutrality. So I think both sides have a legitimate argument. And I think that's something that a lot of people are missing nowadays, that there are legitimate arguments on both sides. One side argues the best thing we can do is encourage competition. Roll out 5G, roll out fiber. Make it so instead of having 2, if you're lucky, really lucky, 3 options for internet, that maybe you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 options for internet. And when you got a ton of people fighting for your business, that's when you see things like data caps go away, better customer service appear, and more. And you see that with the FCC right now. That's their plan. That's what they're doing. They're making it very easy for fiber to roll out. They're making it very easy for 5G to roll out. And they're trying to do stuff to stimulate more competition. I do firmly believe that competition needs to be in place. I fully believe that. I think that bringing competition to home internet is one of the best things that could happen for cord cutting. And I've talked to people in the industry, major top-level executives and major top-level streaming services, and they've all said the same thing. We need more competition in the internet. We also need protections on it. Now, one of the things that's been kind of now two sides of this argument. We need protection. So the federal government does need to do their part of the job here to ensure that there's no monopolies forming, there's no unfair competition, that kind of stuff happening. Fully agree with that, fully support that. Now, just because net neutrality is dead doesn't mean the government's not regulating. Instead of the FCC regulating it, the Federal Communications Commission, the FTC now regulates the internet, the Federal Trade Commission. So we're not exactly in a wild west here. Is that good enough? My main thing with net neutrality is I don't think that the FCC is the best place for it. I really do think the answer for this is in the Senate for a legislative rule here, because as we've seen, rules with net neutrality can easily be changed. A rule from the FCC has no weight to it. It can be changed. New person gets elected, new person gets appointed, bam, rules change. Laws, though, are very difficult to change. So I do think the best solution here is laws rather than just rules. I think that'll be, in the long-term scheme of thing, far more successful, far more beneficial to cord cutting is if there were certain protections passed into law rather than just some rules that could be overturned tomorrow. So that's my opinion. Now, like I said, there's two sides to every story. Neither side here is without merit. So just keep that in mind. Luke, what does the Air TV record? Luke, does the Air TV record OTA channels? Yes. So this year, Roku or Sling TV did roll out an update to the Air TV that you can DVR both on the white player and the black box version, that you can record OTA channels with it. They actually just rolled out a 2-tuner version of the Air TV player, which allows you to record 2 shows at once. Which streaming services support surround sound? Most of them do now. DirecTV Now, I think, has it in a few ones. Somebody correct me. I think I saw they're having it. Netflix, Hulu. Netflix and Amazon have it. Somebody help me. Hulu. I want to say yes, surround sound. Let me know. I know other services have it. Those are just a few of the big ones that jump out at me when I think about it. Luke, do you think DirecTV Now will ever be supported on the Android TV like the Nvidia Shield? Possible. It's possible. But the market share for Android TV is so small, places like Hulu and DirecTV Now have kind of just said it's not worth it to them, just to be honest with you. If the market continues to grow, that's when we will likely see it come to more Android TV devices. Luke, why doesn't cable TV buffer when streaming services does? Two different technologies. Cable TV's been around 30 years. Streaming's been around 2 or so years. So there's a time frame there. Cables had 30 years to perfect their system. Cord cutting hasn't. The other reason that there's buffering with streaming is typically on your end. You're typically at fault for most buffering. Weak Wi-Fi is the number one cause of buffering on streaming services. So keep that in mind. Do I think YouTube TV will add more channels? Possible, but they haven't said anything about it. So it's possible, though. Suggestions to watch NHL, my local Pittsburgh's on AT&T. Just keep your fingers crossed. AT&T is the last sports network to hold out and not go on cord cutting. My recommendation is pick a different sports team and move. I'm just kidding. I'm assuming AT&T will eventually be forced to jump on the cord cutting bandwagon as their ratings slowly decrease. Older people aren't very techie, so they miss out on streaming because it's a lot of it's over their heads. You say that, but we have a huge reader base in their 60 plus. I taught some cord cutting classes up in Dallas over the last few weeks. Over 400 people all combined came to them, and we taught people, and the average age was 60, to be honest with you. Honestly, one of the fastest growing areas of cord cutting right now is 60 plus. Why? Because they're on fixed incomes. And when you're on a fixed income, you're really price sensitive. With the economy so good, a lot of people in their 30s and 40s don't really care about finding ways to save money because, hey, I don't really need to save money like I did 3, 4, or 5 years ago. But people on fixed income still do. So one of the fastest growing areas of cord cutting right now is 60 and above because they're the ones that really need to save money right now. So keep that in mind. Robert says his mom is 75 years old and she likes streaming now over cable. Yeah, my parents are streamers instead of cable. What plays better with Tableau? Fire or Roku? 50-50. It does seem like Roku gets updates a little faster than the Fire TV, but it's extremely similar. If you had a Fire TV, I wouldn't switch to Roku for a Tableau and vice versa. Both were great. Do you think Chatter's big news streaming channel will be added to DirecTV Now? Very possible, but I haven't heard anything about it. Luke, any opinions on VPNs? For security when at public places, yeah, I use the VPN when I travel. Never do any banking, anything remotely official on a public Wi-Fi. If at all possible, I'll always use a VPN on public Wi-Fi. For cord cutting, I don't really see a need for a VPN, just to be honest with you. You know, Clark says, you know what's funny is phone services are going away and cell phone services are taking over. Yeah, you know, it's just the reality. I bought my first home quite a few years ago. I have never had a home phone ever since I moved out. Every place I rented, every place I've been, I've never had a home phone. I've never paid for a home phone, at least. Of course, had one when I was a kid. And yeah, I know what a home phone is. I just don't need it. And when I bought my home, never even thought about home phone. Never even entered my thought pattern to get a home phone, to be honest with you. And that's just the reality. I mean, you know what's funny is I was at a convention earlier this year, and there was a ton of cable executives. One of the Charter senior executives was there. The list went on and on and on. And there was this analyst there, and a lot of them, and he had this long speech, and he kept saying, they don't know what they're missing, referring to cord cutters. They don't know what they're missing with cable. They don't know what they're missing. They don't know what they're missing. He just said it over and over. And I heard it from other executives in the industry too. And I don't think cable people remember, even if you're a cord never, the idea if you're somebody who never has paid for cable TV on your own, that somehow you don't know what you're missing. Well, the reality is you do. It's very likely that you have had cable growing up as a kid. Your parents paid for it. Maybe you went to college, and at most colleges, cable is included with your dorm for free. Even most off-post housing around colleges, most apartments include it to compete with the dorms. They offer free basic cable. You've probably stayed in a hotel. So just keep that in mind, that people who are cord cutters know what they're missing. And they know they probably had it at one point. Even if they didn't pay for it, they probably have had it in their house in the past. So this idea that they don't know what they're missing is probably one of the dumbest arguments that cable executives are trying to make right now. Home phone shouldn't be free. I do have to disagree with that idea. Home phone does cost money. Just the if you think about all the miles of cable that has to run to people's homes, that's expensive to maintain that, to build that, to take care of that. The idea that it should be free, it's just not the case. Now you can, in many things like a Magic Jack or a Uwa or one of the other ones, there are a lot of free ways to do it with internet. ULA, or however you say the OOYA, wherever it is actually the phone system I use at Cord Cutters News when we got an office. I've never had a home phone. We do have a business phone though. So check that out. So keep that in mind. All right, so Mo says the Tableau TV seems more expensive than the Amazon Fire Recast. They're actually about the same when you run it, the numbers. So the Recast is about $130, $140 with taxes. Tableau, you can buy them for $99. $130 for a lifetime subscription. So it's pretty much the same cost between the two. Both of them will offer external storage support. The Fire TV Recast does not at launch, but they say it's coming. So there really is a kind of a wash on it when you look at it. All right. Do you ever see Roku creating a DVR in the future? Seems like everyone's in the DVR business. Could be. Probably won't. You know what's funny is the guy who created the Roku, Anthony, he is also the guy who invented the DVR. He is the guy who invented it and did all the back work. Everything you know as a modern day DVR goes back to the guy who created the original. There we go. The guy who invented the Roku is also the guy who invented the DVR. So just keep that in mind. But will they do it? You know, everything they said is no, that they probably won't, but it's very possible they will. Luke, what is your thoughts on the new TiVo Bolt OTA DVR? It's nice. It definitely is pricey. You're paying a premium price for a premium user interface in DVR. It's nice. If you like TiVos, it sounds like the best over-there DVR option out there. It does include some benefits the current Romeo version, or however you say it, does not include. So just keep that in mind. That there are many... there is a premium for it, but if you like TiVo, it's not a bad option. Well, other than 5G, what do you think will be the next big thing in cord cutting? I think internet options is the next big thing right now in cord cutting. Driving down the cost of internet by having competition. So just keep that in mind. Look for just right now, I think we're in an evolutionary stage. I think a lot of people are waiting for 3.0 over there TV to come out starting next year, 5G to continue to roll out. Once those two things get established, look for cord cutting in the next step to really kind of roll out fast. Well, why DVR when it's available on demand? Some services come with it. There's an argument there that on demand is great. Problem with on demand is you often have to wait. A lot of people like to DVR so that they can watch it the same day, just later in the day. Where with a lot of on demand services, you need to wait until the next day. And there's still not everything on demand. Sporting events, newscasts, and more. I love watching the 6 o'clock news. I can't actually watch it at 6. I have kids. I have things to do. I DVR it with my tablet DVR and my antenna. And I watch it in bed before I go to sleep. It's a pretty nice deal. Well, Luke, what's the possibility that premium channels like HBO, Starz, and Showtime will update their channels to broadcast 4K before their cable equivalents? Very likely. Streaming has always been way ahead of things like 4K. So I would be shocked, honestly, if HBO is on 4K with a cable service before it is in a streaming version. Could happen. There's no reason why it couldn't happen, but I would be shocked. So just keep that in mind. John says, it's a shame that you can't pick the channels you want and only pay for the channels that you want to pay for. The reality is most channels are owned by a big bundle, and most cable channels wouldn't survive on their own. True TV, heck, even according to some studies I've seen, networks like CNN and MSNBC wouldn't survive if they weren't bundled. If people had to pay for them, if only the people who want to watch them paid for them, they wouldn't survive. Just the reality of it. So a lot of them, they try bundles. So you take a thing like a Disney, an ESPN, an AMC, the channels that people really want, and you bundle them with stuff that people don't want. And then that's how they get it. That's how, but the truth is there are people who want to watch things like VH1. Now VH1 on its own probably wouldn't survive, but there is still a following of it. So that's the reason. We're moving in that direction. Every year, closer and closer and closer to it, we get to the idea that that there will be more and more content out there available. A la carte, we'll call it. That's the word I was looking for. Do I plan to watch Babylon 5 tonight? Comment. I absolutely love Babylon 5. So all through the 90s, I used to set my VHS player to record Babylon 5. When I got home from work at like 11 o'clock at night, I would put that on. I thought it was really cool. I have VHS, sitting in my bedroom that I could watch Babylon 5 and repeat. I think I was going through a box of family memories. I found like a whole stack of those in there. I actually own it. Somewhere in this bookshelf right behind me is every Babylon 5 season on DVD. Of course, they're on Amazon Prime, but it is really cool to see them on over there TV through Comet. Hopefully more people discover Babylon 5. Sadly, the creator of Babylon 5 has kind of said that with Warner Brothers, now AT&T, owning Babylon 5, the executives over there have shown no interest in reviving Babylon 5, unfortunately. So I'm completely paraphrasing what he said, though. What home internet options have you chosen? I mean, my recommendation is try them all in your area. Of course, what I do to try to save money is every few years switch between DSL and cable. So it's been a couple years with cable. When they stopped giving me the best possible deal, I switched to DSL. After a few years there, I switched to cable. Often, it is also a great option to get to just know what your competitors are. So if you're with CenturyLink, let's say, and you know your cable provider is Spectrum, know what Spectrum's charging their new customers. So when you call CenturyLink, even if you don't want to change, you could say, hey, Spectrum's offering me X price. Can you meet that or beat that? More often than not, they will meet it. Sometimes they won't. And if they won't, switch over to the competitor. It may take a little time off your schedule, but check it out. It is worth it. If an LTA channel temporarily loses signal, does the DVR still record it? Yes. But you would still get that distortion or whatever happened to the antenna signal there during the DVR recording. The first official streaming museum. That would be pretty cool. It's probably going to happen someday. You know what's probably going to happen? The Netflix museum. Who would go to a museum all about Netflix? Anybody? Probably going to be one about Amazon soon too. Don't count me on that. What do I think of the Skyline antenna? You know, I'm not familiar with it. I've not tested it, I don't believe, so I can't really comment on it. Yes, Magic says, do you know that Amazon bought the rights to Lord of the Rings and is working on a new series based on the world? Yes, we actually reported that when it happened. CoreCarsNews.com. CoreCarsNews.com. If you only follow us here on YouTube, you are missing so much content. Not picking on anything, just great example here. We post 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or more stories a day all about the world of cord cutting, so check it out. I'm averaging like 6.5 stories a day right now, so check that out. 30,000. I wrote 30,000 words last week. In 1 week, over 30,000 words. It's really funny because if you told me in college I had to write a 3,000 word paper, I would have been freaking out. Now I write that in a couple hours. All right, hey, keep the questions coming. Another 10 minutes. Here we're gonna wrap this up. I just have a lot to do this week. Again, sorry, this Wednesday I won't be here. That's why I'm doing it tonight. Next week, Wednesday, back to a normal schedule. Clark says, did you know that Spectrum in California does have a a la carte thing where you can pick 10 channels? That is correct. You get your locals, you get a bunch of random music channels no one cares about, and you can pick 10 channels from a list. It's not a bad deal. It's moving. You do need Spectrum's internet to get their a la carte TV service. Magic says Netflix is only big because of other companies' content. That was true. But now over half of all the content added to Netflix is Netflix original content. I know people say, well, they don't actually make all of it. Sometimes they buy the rights. Well, that same thing is true with ABC, Fox, NBC, and CBS. Much of the content made on those networks isn't actually made by those networks. It's actually times where a show can be owned by CBS but aired on Fox, for example. So keep that in mind. Star Trek Deep Space Nine in my local market was aired on a Fox network. So just keep in mind that Netflix is not the only one who does that. Now, pretty much every major cable company there also does that. When is Hulu going to get all of the football games? Well, in most areas, if you get your locals, you should be able to get the football games that air in your local networks. I think in NFL Sunday Ticket with DirecTV, now owned by AT&T, I think it's 2022, 2024, somewhere in that time frame before we look for those contracts to be renegotiated. How would you handle somebody who dismisses Nintendo fans? Tell them they're crazy, but also tell them Nintendo's not as powerful as it used to be. Do you happen to know if or when Hulu is going to release a version for the NVIDIA Shield? Well, they have a new team running it, so I have no way to know because a new team is now in charge of the development of the Hulu app. Before they kind of said that the market share of Android TV is so small, and it is. It's a distant, and I do mean a distant fourth place, that it just hasn't been worth their time or effort. So just keep that in mind. How much of your day is spent on doing Core Cars news? Well, I went into work today at 7 a.m. It's now 7:30 my time, so it's a 12-hour day. So 12 hours today, not all that unusual. When you're the boss, there's no one telling you to do it. It also means there's no one else to do the work. So if I don't do it, no one's going to do it. So no, the reality is I do work 7 days a week, at least 2 to 3 hours a day. All right. Last call for questions. We're going to wrap this up. Slightly shortened version of the show today and on Monday. Hope you all enjoyed it. We will be back next week, Wednesday, at our normal time. No Apple TV or Google Network? Magic, I'm not sure what you're asking or saying there. I know Apple is working on a service. We've covered it extensively over at corecarsnews.com, but it's not available yet. We will do our best to do a full review of it when it is available. Of course, we'll be covering it, all the news there when it comes. So last call for questions, and we're going to wrap it up. Again, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, even if you've been here before. Huge help. Actually, hey, a little tip. If you ever want to support our YouTube channel, like their videos. If you don't want to donate, all that kind of stuff, and you want to help them though, hit like, because YouTube does have this algorithm that depends on how many views and how many times people hit the like or comment on a video, does dictate how many people will see that video. So just keep that in mind, that you're helping people when you hit that thumbs up. It really is huge help. Opinion of the Fire TV stick. I would actually rate, if you have the Fire TV stick, it's great. I suspect a new one's on its way. I can't prove that. It's a pure speculation right now. But I honestly wouldn't buy that right now. The Fire TV pendant design is on sale. It's effectively a Fire TV stick with 4K HDR. I would buy that over the stick. Slightly a better device, newer device with 4K HDR. It's only $10 more than the stick right now. So that's where I would go. Also because I think that there's an upgrade Fire TV stick on the way. Speculation may not be coming. But if you want a new Fire TV, I would get the pendant. It's on sale right now. CoreCarsNews.com. Click on the deal tab to find details about this for $39.99. At least it was this morning. My luck, they probably shut down the deal 5 minutes ago. But for $10 more, I would get the Fire TV stick right now versus the or Fire TV pendant versus the stick. Do you think Apple will have a bundle like Amazon Prime? Doesn't sound very Apple-ish of them. I bet they'll continue to individually sell it. You may be able to add certain things. I don't know. What do I say? No Apple stick. I do not expect any new Apple hardware this year for at least Apple TV related. Next year, we'll probably get a new Apple TV. Maybe. I will say this, though. If the Apple streaming service flops, I'll be interested to see how committed Apple is to the Apple TV service, Apple TV player. So the future of the Apple TV player may be tied very closely to the success of their TV streaming service. And I do wonder, according to all of our surveys, the Fire TV is a very distant, like 5th place when you look at all the options. Let me pull that up. Here we go. Oh, that's the summer. Let me go pull up the fall. And I'll tell you, the Apple TV market share with cord cutters is smaller than you think it is. And overall, it's a lot smaller than what you think it is. All right. Come on, Google. Here we go. And I posted about this a little bit, but let me read you the results here just because I find this very, very interesting. And when I started being a cord cutter, it really shocked me. 70% of our readers, over 2,000 of our readers took the survey. 70% of them use a Roku. Now, we asked them which ones do you use. So the question here is, what devices do you use to stream your content? And it allows you to use multiple. So if you use an Android phone and a Roku, you can put that. So 70% Roku, 38% Fire TV, 32% laptop or PC. Smart TVs came at 25%. So fourth place was smart TVs. And in fifth place was Apple TV, all versions, at 23%. So that's a bump. They were at 14% a year or two ago. They moved up to 23%. But for the last couple of surveys, they remained flat. The growth in the Apple TVs remained flat. Makes me wonder how much of that growth was tied to like the DirecTV Now deal and some others within the core community. A lot of people said, so, Android TV needs this app or that app. Well, let's see where it falls here. So in sixth place is Chromecast with 16%. In seventh place is all game systems, Xbox, Wii, Switch, PlayStation, etc. In seventh place is DVRs like TiVo. NVIDIA Shield in eighth place with 6.7% of our readers. The My Box is the next Android TV box that came in there at 1%. The Nexus player came in at 1%. So the reality is, all put together, there's maybe 8% of the market that uses a Android TV. And when you're spending a lot of money to develop content, these app developers are a lot smaller than you think they would. It's just not worth it for them to put a lot of effort into an 8% market share when you can put your effort into Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV and have most of the market covered. Is the Google Play Store ever going to go back on the Fire TV stick? I don't think it ever was on the Fire TV stick. I know there was workarounds, I believe, to make it happen, but no official one. It is available on Roku. If you want the Google Play Store, movies and TV shows you buy there, check it out on Roku. All right. So, questions, comments, let me know. If you're new here, hit the subscribe, hit that thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I will be back next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern for our normal CoreCon Q&A. So thank you. I really appreciate your support. I will see you all next week right here on our YouTube channel. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.